from Papa Polly. Peter purchased pickle. Blah, blah, blah. I can't even do tongue twisters, guys. Peter purchased pickles from Papa Polly. Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Chris, and I'm your dad next door. And today we are here for another budget microphone review. We are going to be putting on the stand here today the Behringer Ultravoice XM8500. This is a really entry-level microphone running right now on Amazon right at about the $25 price range. And it's a dynamic microphone that we are going to be doing some testing on and putting it up against our Shure SM48 to see what the comparison would be. So we're going to get this guy out of the box, we're going to get him set up, and we're going to see exactly how this goes. First thing I want to discuss is what comes in the box with this microphone, or what exactly you get with it. You actually do receive, for the price point, you do receive this nice hard plastic case, and it comes with a molded foam setup for the microphone and the clip. The clip does come with a 3/8 to 5/8 inch adapter inside of it, so you don't really have to worry about that. But as far as documentation, you really don't get a whole lot. You get one sheet that has your frequency response curve, and that's about all you're going to see. If I could get that on camera without the lights blowing it out, there we go. And that's about all you're going to be able to see there. Based on the readings here, this microphone has a frequency response of around 32 kilohertz, or 32 hertz to just about 18 kilohertz. But I don't have any other additional information on that. I don't have my noise floor. I don't have my max SPL or any of that on here. If I can find documentation or anything online about it, I'll post it in a picture somewhere in the window here so you guys can see that as well. So now let's get it on a stand. Let's get it set up, and let's figure out exactly what this thing sounds like. Before we get too far into this review here today, I do just want to say I stream on Twitch Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays during the week. We talk about microphones. We talk about streamer overlay designs. We talk about, streamer content and things like that, and how to improve and how to get yourself, to that next step from, as a content creator. And if you guys are interested in that and you guys enjoy these videos and you want to come and chat with us live, please feel free to do so. Again, links to all of my social profiles are going to be down in the description of this video. Please feel free to come and check us out there. Thank you. Now back to the rest of the video. And now we have both of these microphones hooked up, and we're kind of listening, and throughout the remainder of the video here, you will hear transitioning between the Shure SM48 and the Behringer XM8500. I'll be doing different tracks here so you guys can see the difference. If you're looking at the meters right here at the bottom of this finger, if you're looking at the meters right here at the bottom of the window, the top meter would be the Shure SM48 and the bottom meter is the XM8500. I will say that, since we're reviewing the Behringer here, that the casing on this thing is actually, it's pretty nice. I really like these flat black colors. I prefer them. They just they don't stand out as much. They don't kind of give you that like crazy glossy shine or anything like that. They're real simple. This microphone is cardioid, and it does not have any switches or anything on it. So it's just a very plain looking microphone, but it's great. The capsule itself is slightly smaller than our Shure SM48. So whatever that determines in terms of the amount of noise that it can pick up or anything like that. I'm just looking at the front end of the capsules here, and it is just slightly smaller in diameter. The capsule itself is a nice hard metal. It doesn't have a whole lot of play to it. You'd have to really crush it to get anything out of that. It does have a built-in foam windscreen, but I can already hear, just from simple plosives that the windscreen may not be the best and could either be upgraded internally if you take the top of the capsule off, if you wanted to replace it with something a little more thicker, or, have a supplied windscreen on top of it if that's what you wanted to do as well. So this is a cardioid dynamic microphone. So we're going to do a an axis test here. Just I'm going to rotate the microphone around and show you the differences in the roll off of this. So as I'm holding this microphone here, I'm going to just simply turn it, and here we are at 90 degrees, and you can kind of tell how that has rolled off. We're going to go back to the other side just to do another 90 degree this way and kind of tell the differences here and how this. Now we are going to basically 120 degrees. I'm going back this way just so that way I can kind of be the same distance from the microphone, but be straight behind it. I feel like a lot of times I've seen these reviews done like this, and to me that's just another 90 degree. You know, you want to make sure you're actually behind the microphone if you're trying to test the rejection from the rear. So that would be just a simple, you know, what you're going to hear, what you're going to do. With these cardiopolar patterns, you want to make sure that you are in front of the microphone as best as possible, or can at least see the front of the microphone as you're talking. With some of them, you can get away with, you know, about a 45 degree off axis, but you're still talking directly towards the front of the microphone, you know, so that way, if you need to have it in a little bit different of a type of position on your desk or in your recording setup, then you can still make it work. But you definitely want to make sure with these dynamics that you are talking directly towards them at all times. Otherwise, you will end up with an issue where you're just not picking up the amount of sound. As soon as I turn my head like this, you can clearly tell that on both microphones, you know, it just turns off, it just tapers off, and there's not a whole lot of sound being picked up. These dynamics do perform an excellent job when it comes to noise rejection from, you know, more ambient sounds. In terms of that, you know, typically they only pick up sounds that are reverberated or, you know, that are being put directly towards them. And even in a reverb situation, you know, it's typically because the sound is reflecting towards the front of the capsule. So that's what you end up with there. So this next test here is going to be what I'm going to call the noise floor test. So basically all I'm going to do is allow this microphone to be super quiet. I'm going to be as quiet as I can in the room, try to pick up, you know, as little amount of external sound as I can. Again, this is not a sound treated booth. This is literally just my, you know, my work office and, you know, my streaming space. So it is not super sound treated. I do have computer fans and things like that, so we might hear those in some of the processing or in some of the post, but we're going to be really, really quiet, and I'm going to boost the levels during post just so I can give you a real good sound of if you're picking up any hiss or any kind of noise from these microphones. So let's go ahead and start with that, and I will take a step back. Let each microphone play for about 10 seconds or so, and that way you'll be able to tell the difference in those two audio tracks. Hey guys, Future Chris coming to you here right now. I've got these guys hooked back up on my stand again because I realized that during the editing phase, I had some kind of electronic hiss or electronic hum in that noise floor test. So I'm going to redo that right now. Sorry, I got bedhead, all this other kind of stuff, but I wanted to make sure you guys had the best audio portion of this because I didn't want to give these microphones a bad test here. So here you go again with this noise floor test. I'm going to be quiet for about 10 seconds for each microphone so you guys can run through that. And here we go. And you can see that the Behringer does actually a pretty good job there of not picking up hardly any sound at all. You know, my meter's tapers off at -60, but it just barely picking anything up. The Shure actually has really good job with that. But that Behringer actually I thought did a pretty good job with that. And you know, anything -55, you're typically not going to hear in an audio recording. It's just going to be, you know, almost dead sound unless somebody's got their sound cranked way up. But that's just kind of, you could just barely see that the Behringer was picking up just a little bit of noise here and there. So here we are going to do a keyboard function test, and I have about maybe a little more than a foot directly behind the microphones here. I have a Logitech, I don't even know what keyboard this is, a Logitech G613 with Romer tactile keys. These are very reminiscent to the Cherry MX Browns, so not quite as noisy as the Blues, but They're still got some sound to them as you're typing. So I'm going to be sitting here and I'm just going to kind of be typing it and see how much of this picks up. I will say that the Behringer is not currently on a shock mount, so you are going to hear some vibration from me typing with this. There is going to be some vibration there, and if I had it on a shock mount, that vibration might go away. So we're just looking at just actually what the keys would be picking up and kind of how much sound we would be getting out of that while we were typing, and how much of those keys are going to be flooding into my voice if you were, actively gaming while trying to use this microphone. So now for this portion of the test, I just want to say that this is what I call my off-axis ambient intrusion test, or something along that line. And what I have basically done is right here, you can see sitting right there on that shelf is my cell phone, and it is currently playing at 100% volume, just a simple kind of track tune here, just to kind of give you an idea of how much of that sound coming from my phone is going to bleed into your audio while you're talking. Now, granted, this is a very exaggerated test at the moment, but, in situations like this, you want to make sure that anything that you do is exaggerated, because in a real-world sample, you're not going to be able to determine what's exaggerated and what's not, right? So that's what you're going to be hearing from that right now. And these microphones are going to pick up a lot, honestly, especially in a non-treated room. Situations like this where the sound has the opportunity to reverb off of every object in a room, you need to be very, very careful with how much ambient noise you're introducing into the room. It's not going to be amazing, and you're going to hear a lot of bleed through. But I mean, I can hear a ton in my headphones right now, but you just got to do the best that you can in order to reduce the amount of intrusion that you get from ambient sounds like this. And you can kind of tell in the meters right here at the bottom of the screen showing that there's really not that much of a difference between the Shure or the Behringer in this matter. They're both picking up about the same volume levels, and there's not a whole lot that you can do to exclude that sound in this type of scenario. Now we're just going to try to do a little bit of a plosive test, see what the rejection rate is on these. So I'm going to do a couple sentences here just to kind of say, like, Peter purchased pickles from Papa Polly. Right, and then we can do it with the windscreen on. Peter purchased pickles from Papa Polly. Peter purchased pickles from Papa Polly. Peter purchased pickle. Blah, blah, blah. I can't even do tongue twisters, guys. Peter purchased pickles from Papa Polly. Peter purchased pickles from Papa Polly. In both of these microphones, I don't think the internal pop filters are all that to write home about. They both work, and they both have some ability to stop some of that puff of air. But if you're going to be using these a lot, I definitely recommend using some type of pop filter. If you can get one of the smaller style, I have like this guy right here that just kind of conveniently mounts over top of the microphone in this shock mount style of adapter that you have. You can do something simple like this, and these are going to go a long way with helping you block out a lot of those plosive sounds. So now we're going to be doing our proximity test here, and we're going to get right up on top of this Behringer microphone. And I want to say that this guy gets really, really muddy when you get close to him, and I'm having to talk pretty quietly, not to completely explode into this thing. And then we go over to the Shure SM48 really fast, and we can still have a little more clarity. I think the proximity on this doesn't get nearly as muddy. And there's still a lot of sibilance when you have your S's from this proximity range, but this guy here is just, the Behringer to me is not a proximity microphone. It's not going to be your ASMR microphone or something like that if you're trying to do that type of test. But this is just to give you an example of what happens when you sit right on top of it and you try to talk through this thing. It just kind of just gets overly muddy, and it just kind of just washes all the clarity in what you're trying to say out of it. And now for our final test of the afternoon, I'm going to do a distance test here. I'm going to point these microphones probably a little bit more straight as I get ready to kind of walk back here, and I'm going to just move myself straight back from these microphones and just kind of show you the difference in the sound and how they change as you get further away from them. Again, these are not shotgun style. They're not hypercardioid or anything like that. Basically, when I start moving up, 90% of what you're going to be hearing is more reverb, more of the sound bouncing off and going back to the microphone than myself. So let's just go ahead and start with that. So now I'm about a foot and a half, 2 feet away from the microphones, just kind of standing right here, got them pointed, again, directly right at me. I'm going to take another step back. That puts me at about 4 feet away now. I'm having to raise my voice a little bit at this point, trying to keep it from getting too, trying to levels drop off too far. I'm going to go back another step here as my cable gets too short. And now I want to say I'm about 5 to 5.5 feet away from the microphones here. And it's just, I'm having to talk pretty loud, and most of what you guys are going to be hearing is the sound bouncing off of the walls. You're going to hear a lot of extra, not ambient noise, but just a lot of less quality of the audio because it's more reverb and more reflection than of actually what I'm saying directly into them. Unless you are in a super treated room, like a very, very well treated room, you are going to not want to do that. You are going to want to be very close to your microphone. If you happen to be in a very nice treated room, then all you're going to notice when you back up is it's going to get a lot quieter. So you just want to have the opportunity to be close to your microphone if you can. And, those of you that are content creators and live streamers, I'm going to say this right now, don't be afraid to put your microphone in your camera. Don't be afraid of it. Your microphone is part of your content. It's part of what you're doing. Use it to your advantage. Make that microphone a benefit of you and make it a part of you. You don't need to hide your microphone in order to be a good creator. If you have a hypercardioid or you have a shotgun style microphone or you have a boom mic or something like that, no problem. Do that. Use it to its advantage. But if you're using any of these style of microphones, especially these lower budget microphones, you need to make sure that you're using them to the best of their abilities, not to the best of your visual ability. So to close out on our review here today of this Behringer Ultravoice XM8500, I do just want to say that for a $25 XLR microphone, I don't think this is a bad deal. Currently on Amazon, it's got 4.5, 4 and 3/4 stars, and it's rated as the #1 pick to be paired with the Behringer Euphoria UM2. Go figure, it's a Behringer product being paired with the Behringer product, but it doesn't do a bad job. If you can spring an extra $10 when you're getting your microphone, like if you're really, really not on that type of a budget, I would probably still fish for the SM48. When I acquired this one, it was right at about $35, and I just feel like the SM48 has a better all-around sound. I feel like the Ultravoice here doesn't quite pick up the low end nearly as well as the SM48 does. I typically have a deeper voice, and I just feel like this microphone kind of sounds hollow for me. If you don't have a really deep voice, if you got a little bit of a higher tone in the way you speak, you probably won't notice that much of a difference between the 48 and the Ultravoice. I mean, it just seems like they might come through very, very, very similar. But I hope this review here today was really good for you. Again, Behringer Ultravoice XM8500, entry level. I think $25 is really one of the most entry level microphones that you can get, and you can do something decent with it. It doesn't have to be a $200 microphone to get your podcast or your streaming or YouTubing or whatever video production you're trying, or whatever audio production you're trying to do off the ground. You don't need a $200-300 microphone. You can start with $25 and get what you need to do. So I hope this review was great for you. If you guys like this video, please hit that thumbs up button. If you thought this video was absolutely fabulous and you're looking for more in the future, please hit that subscribe button. Let me know that you guys are getting the content that you enjoy and that you're expecting from me. Other than that, I have nothing else to say about this guy here today, but we will have more microphone reviews for you in the future. My name is Chris. I'm your dad next door, and we will check you next time. You just saw this. Oh my god. All right, chat.